All right, welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about a topic that is called the intercepts of graphs. And all it means to be an intercept is where it's going to be intersecting with the x and the y axis. So when our line crosses over that x-axis, we call it the x-intercept. When a line crosses over the y-axis, we call it the y-intercept. So we're trying to use our knowledge on x and y intercepts, where our line crosses over a graph, to use that to help us in some real life scenarios. So without further ado, let's begin. So again, the x-intercept is the x-coordinate of the point where the graph intersects the x-axis. The y-intercept, likewise, is the y-coordinate of the point where the graph intersects the y-axis. So let's go through an example on how we're going to use our knowledge on intersects to help us with a real life scenario. Problem says, at a baseball game, Doug has $12 to spend on popcorn and peanuts. The peanuts are $4 and the popcorn is $2. The function 4x plus 2y is equal to 12 describes the amount of peanuts, x, and popcorn, y, he can buy if he spends all his money. The function is graphed below. Find the intercepts and what does each intercept represent? So let's talk about this first before we look at a graph. Well, Doug has $12 to spend. He could buy peanuts for $4 each. Popcorn is $2 each. Well, how do we show $4 each for peanuts if peanuts represents our x? Well, that's 4x. What about popcorn? Popcorn is $2 per bucket, and it's saying popcorn is y. So we would write that as 2y, because it's $2 per popcorn bucket, or $4 per bag of peanuts. And we know the total amount of money that he has is going to be 12. So we can write out an equation, 4x, $4 per bag of peanuts, plus 2y, $2 per bucket of popcorn, is equal to $12. First off, I want to know where Doug is at right now, because I've never, ever heard of popcorn being for $2 at a baseball game. I want to go where Doug's at, because that is a steal of a price. But let's talk about how many buckets of popcorn and bags of peanuts he can buy. If he has $12 to spend and he wants to buy all peanuts, how many bags of peanuts can he buy if they're $4 a pop? Yeah, 3 bags. So he can spend all his money on either 3 bags of peanuts. If we know popcorn is $2 a bucket and we want to figure out how many buckets of popcorn he could buy, well, 12 divided by 2 is 6. So he can buy 6 buckets of popcorn. So we can use that knowledge, 3 bags of peanuts, 6 buckets of popcorn, and show that on our intercepts of a real life scenario. So when we look at the graph crosses the y-axis at 0, 6. So the y-intercept is 6. And boxes of popcorn is our y-axis, so he can buy at most 6 boxes of popcorn. Well, if we look at our x-axis, well, the bags of peanuts is our x-axis. And we said before he can only buy 3 in total. So he could buy 3 bags of peanuts if he buys 0 boxes of popcorn. He can buy 6 boxes of popcorn if he buys 0 bag of peanuts, which is where we're getting the ordered pair. 0, 6 is 0 bags of peanuts and 6 boxes of popcorn. 3, 0 is 3 bags of peanuts and 0 boxes of popcorns. So by graphing this relationship, we're able to see what kind of combinations we are able to get. And we want to figure out, okay, well, the intercepts is when the opposite is 0. The y-intercept is when x is 0. The x-intercept is when y is 0. So in our real life scenario, we were looking at, hey, how many boxes of popcorn can we buy if we buy no bags of peanuts? How many bags of peanuts can we buy if we buy no boxes of popcorn? So since the x-intercept is 3, 3 is the amount of peanuts Doug can buy if he buys no popcorn. And again, the y-intercept is 6. That's the amount of popcorn Doug can buy if he buys no peanuts. So in the next few problems, you're going to want to find the x and y intercept. So you want to figure out where that line cuts across the x and the y axis. And then you're going to be looking at another real life scenario with a volleyball team. So please work on problems 1 through 4 on the guided notes and resume when you're ready to move forward. All right, if you listen to my voice, that means you worked on problems 1 through 4 on the guided notes and you're ready to move forward. So let's say you're not given a graph and you're only given an equation. Let's say you are only given 4x plus 2y is equal to 8. Well, we're going to use our knowledge of intercepts to help us find those x and y intercepts. Before, if we go back, the y-intercept is 6 here because our x value is 0. So knowing that if x is 0, we find our y-intercept, we can take that and apply it to our equation. Likewise, if we look on this x-axis, well, the y value is 0. We found the x value when y was 0. So we're going to take that and we're going to substitute them in. To find these intercepts, we substitute 0 for the opposite. So if we're wanting to find the x-intercept on the left-hand side, we're going to substitute 0 for y because if we're on that x-axis, y is equal to 0 on that x-axis. Likewise, on the right-hand side, to find the y-intercept, we're going to substitute 0 for x because we're on that y-axis, so x is going to be equal to 0 every single time on that y-axis. So we substitute in for 0 and we get our value. A good way to remember it, if you're trying to find the x-intercept, you should end up with an answer as x is equal to. If you're trying to find the y-intercept, you should end up with an answer that's y is equal to. That way you're finding the x-intercept and the y-intercept. If that's not what you receive, then something went a little bit wrong there. So we got to go back and make sure we're substituting 0 in for the correct variable you are trying to solve for. So we substitute in 0 and we solve. So we get that x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 4. Therefore, the x-intercept is 2 and the y-intercept is 0. Again, over on the left-hand side, we substituted 0 for y and we ended up with x. On the right-hand side, we substituted 0 in for x and we ended up with y because we're choosing the value of our other variable. So we should end up with the variable that we want to. So now that we know the x-intercept is 2 and the y-intercept is 4, we can take this and put it onto a graph. Well, the x-intercept is 2, so we plot 2, 0 on the graph. We go to that x-axis and plot 2. Likewise, we know the y-intercept is 4, so we go to the point 0, 4, and we plot that. We go to the y-axis and find 4, and then we draw our line. Now that we have 2 points, we can graph that line all the way through the graph. And that's how we use our knowledge of intercepts. We want to find those intercepts, graph them, and then create our line. Great job with this. Now, please work on problems 5, 6, and 7 on the guided notes. Let me know if you have any questions. Great job, y'all. Have a good one.